Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new series on Stellaris. We're here with Michael from Gaming for Immersion channel. Say hello, Michael.
Hello, everyone.
Yep, and it's been a while. I guess for all of you, I don't know. I guess we played together before when we played Baldur's Gate, but Mike plays a lot of Warhammer on his channel, and I play a lot of Baldur's Gate on my channel. But I do play Stellaris sometimes, and I've been trying to get Mike into it, telling him that at his own risk, he should try this game and just get lost in it. I think Stellaris. I've played Stellaris since the day it was released in 9th of May 2016. The game has been overhauled 4 times now. And just recently, I think they've released a few DLCs, patched it up, changed the the way the economy works at a base level. And I think the game is in the best state it's ever been. We're on version 4.1.5 open beta, but I'm sure with 4.1.5 released, maybe 0.1.6, it's really will be in a really, really good spot. Really throughout, I think there's very few things that are not balanced, I think. And so I think it's a great time to get into it. So we thought, I guess we thought for a long time that we would do a series together to do something different, but also to get kind of Mike in it and to maybe get more other people in it. We'll do a co-op series where we play the same empire, 2 of us, and Mike can just ask me questions as a new player would, and I can answer them with a caveat that I'm definitely not an expert.
If you don't mind,
yeah.
If you don't mind, can I jump in for a second here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, exactly what you just said, but to add to that, this is actually a game that I have had sitting in my Steam library for years and years, because I knew a long time ago that it was the kind of game that would appeal to me, but life being what it is, I just never had the time to really bother to learn it. And I do, when I start playing a game, I tend to really kind of, get deep into it and kind of lose myself in it. And so knowing that I wasn't really going to have the time to do that, I've just kind of put it off and put it off and put it off. And so thank goodness that Immersioneer came along and has pushed me into saying basically this is the time to delve into it. So I'm pretty excited to learn about this game. It certainly looks like it has an awful lot of depth to it, which does appeal to me. And this is absolutely the first time I have ever played. So I'm coming into this basically as complete novice, and so this is a great opportunity for me, and maybe for anybody else who is watching who's unfamiliar with how to play the game but maybe is somewhat curious about it. There's going to be a great opportunity to have an expert, because I think Immersioneer has told me he's the best Stellaris player in the world, to basically teach everything that there is to know about this game. So that's how I'm coming into it. I'm pretty excited to learn about it, but right now I really don't know much of anything. All right. Anyway, back to you.
Yeah. No, thanks. Yeah. So I think many people looking at Stellaris and the amount of DLC it has would be pretty intimidated by it. And yes, it is a super deep game. Like I said, I've played since the day one. Probably have about 800 hours in it. But I have to say, guys, I was telling Mike, I've never played a Gestalt Consciousness or a Machine Empire, like an AI. I've only ever played Organics, and considering they changed the games 4 times. I've only completed the game. I faced the final crisis sort of maybe 2-3 times, not on patch 4.0 either. And so, there's a lot for me to learn, but I think I have a good grasp of all the basics of the game and all the different stats in this. So yeah, I guess I think I can give you a good introduction for sure. And to anyone who's watching and who's been kind of intimidated, I think the game, despite being released in 2016, the number of times they fixed it and reworked it, I think it's very fresh. And I don't think, in my theory, is that we're not going to see Stellaris 2 for a while. They'll just keep adding on this, because why not? A lot of the game is just kind of stats and, mechanics, right? Because it's space. There isn't really much to do visually or to change. I mean, the engine seems to be running okay. 4.0 kind of introduced some performance issues, but I think it's rectifiable, and I think they've rectified it. Or they're going to kind of finish it up with 4.1.6. So yeah, the game has got a great life. So yeah.
Yeah, the other thing that is really appealing about this game, you said it's a lot of numbers, which is true, but I've heard, and I think you have said the same thing as well, that there's a lot of storytelling potential in this game. So it's not just going to be all about, hey, let's min-max our empire and conquer the galaxy, but there's actually going to be some story development that happens along with it.
Yeah, I think unique to for like X or any empire building games, you'll see when we go over our sort of the empire that Mike kind of came up with the kind of a bit of my help. Just how much
blame it all on me.
To have like how much flavor you can give your empire, and then it's all up to you how you want to play it out in the galaxy. And so there's a lot of like anomalies, lots of things that happen, events, and like how you approach things and what can happen. And like I have to say, you'd be surprised how deep the mechanics go. And like you can ally, war, exterminate everybody, ally with everybody, get everyone together. Like there is, I personally think that every time I play Stellaris, I just get lost in it because there's like a whole story to be told. And if you're, RPG player and you like to spend a lot of time in like character creation, I think like no other game, Stellaris nailed that, where, you could just spend hours in empire creation, like literally hours.
Yeah. So those of you who watch my Warhammer videos know that I tend to make a lot of decisions not based on what is functionally most advantageous, but often just what fits the theme. So I'm looking forward to doing that in this game as well.
Yeah, I think we definitely can. So I guess with that all said, I hope you guys join us. Give it a like if you enjoyed and you want to see like the series play out to the full end. But I guess let's jump into it and just go over the empire that we've created, right?
Yeah, let's dive in.
To keep this episode manageable. Yep, so I'm gonna click on like change empire, but we've already gone over
So
all
I think
this.
if I click on ready up, is that what you need from me?
Well, you can actually wait, hang on. So that it appears on your screen. I guess what you would do is actually stop joining my empire and then just go to create empire, and we can just run through the options you pick.
Okay, just so that we can see it on on
your screen.
The folks watching my video. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
So if I click
so
here,
we're doing create new. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's not worry too much about like the portrait itself. But
I think, did I just quit the game? God damn. Sorry,
did you quit the game?
Yes, sorry, I quit. I clicked the wrong button. Sorry. Rejoin, please. Sorry, I'll send you the code. God damn.
I still have you in the game lobby, interestingly.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Hang on. Sorry about that, guys. Is there an immerse game?
Oh, there we go. Now it says server was lost. Okay, so I'm back. All right, so multiplayer, and we're gonna do a direct join.
Sorry, I'm gonna send you the new code. Boom. This is the new code.
Got a new code. Okay. Sure is. It's different. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. So I wasn't sure how to. Yeah. So I should press edit.
Well, those of you watching my video will not be seeing any of this because I'll edit it out. Okay. There we go.
Yeah, so if you go to your create empire, and I'll go change empire, and we'll go edit. So because we pre-created this before this video, but just to go over for those who are new and kind of how you create an empire. So I would pick first, you go over the origin, and origin being kind of the pre-space flight history of your nation as to where you've come from and like what exactly what was the formative event that led you to take up to the skies. And there's a bunch of different ones. Like I won't go over all of them. Some are weaker, some are stronger. I don't think it matters again if you're not min-maxing. I think all are pretty good. So it's all about just reading the bonuses that they give and whatnot. Now Mike was I asked him, what kind of fantasy would you want to play out in like a sci-fi game? And he said, something like Jedi, right? Sort of something like that. So we picked Teachers of the Shroud. So this one blocks all ascension paths except for psionic ascension. Ascension paths being the way to improve your species in sort of mid to late game, really mid game. And they can either, you can either become cyborgs, or you can become sort of like mind force users like the Jedi, or you can just, be like clone yourself or purify your genes. Those are like the paths, and there's multiple paths now because the last 3 DLC have reworked all of those. So we are going to be Teachers of the Shroud. The backstory here is long before their first steps onto the galactic stage, this civilization has been supported and shaped by a Shroud Walker coven. And that gives us special traits, so we get latent psionic from the start, right? So we have latent psionic abilities, which are dormant in most of its members. Although quite rare, these powers will manifest in some leaders. That obviously gives us some bonuses. It gets job efficiency for research-producing jobs plus 10%. So any scientists we have are basically, you know, like super intelligent and help us produce more research. And job efficiency for bureaucrats is plus 5%. So again, mind read what application you wanted to put in, and therefore process it a lot faster. The beauty of being latent psionic. We also have available star-based buildings. So buildings we can build on our star bases is a Shroud beacon, a psionic beacon used to spawn a Shroud tunnel in the system. While the Shroud beacon may be dismantled or destroyed, the tunnel itself cannot be removed. So we'll see how that works. That's very new. We have communications with the Shroud Walker Enclave from the start, a mysterious sect of psionic practitioners dedicated to exploring the Shroud and its ineffable designs. Again, we'll dive into that when we actually get started. And you have guaranteed research options, psionic theory. This is, I think, a technology that will kind of lead into psionic ascension. So again, I'll explain how technology works, but this one we get a guaranteed option that we can always pick that, as far as I understand. So there are some requirements for various origins. The requirements for this one is that we are some degree of spiritualist, because it's the spiritualists that, you know, tend towards psionics. And we cannot be these fanatic purifiers, natural design. So kind of a few civics that are, or a few empire sort of character traits, if you want to call them that are so off theme that they're incompatible with this origin.
So the game kind of forces you to stick to a theme within a certain extent.
Yes, although I mean, I'd say out of like 100 options, you know, you've been denied 3.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's more like it wouldn't make sense. You can still like play around with this origin a lot. Like you can envisage very different types of, you know, features of the Shroud origin playthroughs. But yeah, you definitely can't be like, you can't be peddling, you know, for example, cybernetics as an augmentation bazaar if you are, you know, supposedly been following the Shroud for like years and years. And you obviously can't be machine either here. So we picked Teachers of the Shroud. That's what we're going to go with. We then went into government and ethics. And here I would start with the ethics, and that every empire in Stellaris can pick 3 points of ethics, which are, you know, there's basically authoritarian or egalitarian. It's one or the other. You are either spiritualist or materialist. You're either militarist or pacifist, and you're either xenophobe or xenophile, right? So you either tend towards one leader and kind of, or small clique of leaders, or you want to do like, you know, elections. You're either spiritualist in that you believe in the kind of the mind and the soul, or you're materialist in that you believe in kind of research and material sciences and robots. You are militarist, i.e. like you believe in, you don't necessarily believe in conquering everybody, but you believe in sort of strength and sort of potentially fighting back defensively or offensively. Or you're pacifist, where you really want to just be left alone and you want to kind of defend. It doesn't mean you can't defend, so but you prefer to kind of be on the defensive most of the time. And xenophobe or xenophile being like you want to kind of go out there and meet new species, and xenophobe being you not necessarily hostile, but you're kind of suspicious of them as opposed to kind of leaning out. You're kind of looking in more. So me and Mike, I guess we picked Fanatic Spiritualist, right? Our science has proved that consciousness begets reality. We regard with patience the childlike efforts of those who delude themselves. It is the other way around, as they play with their blocks of hard matter. We have Fanatic Spiritualist that gives us some bonuses. It gives us some kind of unique abilities, so we can build temples, whereas other empires can't. We cannot use full AI rights, however, so we can't make robots full citizens. And we get sort of monthly unity sort of bonus, and we get bonus to an edict upkeep, an edict cost. Mike also picked us as xenophobe, so the description here is the stakes could not be higher as we reach into the vast uncharted expanses of the galaxy, but we are gambling with the very survival of our species. Never trust the alien. Its false smile hides an unknowable mind. So I guess we're... Yeah,
so like every good fanatics, we hate everyone else.
Yeah. But we're a little bit fanatic, though. We're not like super xenophobe, but we're suspicious of everyone, for sure.
Yeah.
And again, in Stellaris, every ethic kind of gives you kind of some bonuses. So here, xenophobe, it allows you to purge aliens. Doesn't mean you have to, but you can purge them, you can enslave them. People tend to like us a little bit more off the get-go. Again, we can improve relations. That doesn't stop us from that. We also cannot give aliens full citizenship, so there is that clear delineation between our founding species and everyone else. We cannot allow aliens full military service either, and we don't really want refugees. We might take some sometimes, but we cannot just allow everyone in here.
Yeah, just to clarify my earlier statement, thank you for that. We don't actually hate everyone else. We just look down on everyone else.
So we kind of feel as superior, yeah. So I think after the ethics, because the ethics, once you pick those, they kind of open up the civics. Civics being sort of like character traits or feats in an RPG, you could say, that kind of define your character. And here we went with heroic past. So the legendary heroes of the past inspire each new generation to achieve the extraordinary as role models. Government officials embody these ideals. And here again, sort of like Jedi type, sort of Jedi Knights type heritage we have here. Again, each one of these civic can alter your gameplay from a little bit to a lot. This one, I would say, heroic past, I don't think that changes it too much. We basically get more leader capacity, so we can hire more leaders. And we have a special council position, which I think all civics have. For us, it's the Grand Storyteller, and he gives, govern ethics attraction plus 2%. So our populace will tend to hold the same beliefs, I guess, be more uniform in their thinking, and leader experience gain plus 2%. So everyone learns a bit faster. And the second civic we picked is Crusader Spirit. The lack of guidance creates weak minds, which easily succumb to corruption and plunge into decadence. This society has assumed the self-imposed mantle, bringing enlightenment to the masses through aggressive proselytizing. And so here our commanders start with the Crusader trait. I'm actually not 100% sure what it means, but it's probably a good trait. And we can only use liberation wars. We'll see how that actually works. I don't actually remember, to be honest myself, what exactly we're liberating and who and from what. But yeah, we definitely have some restrictions. We are sort of like good. We do war for enlightenment, not to just annex territory. And you can see here, modifiers kind of gives us some weapons damage, ship build speed. So, our fleets are a bit stronger. And we have a Lord Commander as a council position, which gives us ship fire rate plus 1% and army damage per his skill level. So that's our nation. Then we pick the authority, which on my screen is kind of on the left here. So we went with dictatorial as opposed to oligarchic, democratic, or imperial. So dictatorial being, sorry, where is it? Sorry. Dictatorial governments are ruled, by a single individual for life that wields absolute control over the state. We've got some strong leadership here, but when he dies, there is a bit of meritocracy. There is an election, and then we kind of let the next guy kind of get on with it. So we have recruitable leaders per class -1 with that. Although interesting, heroic past gives us +1, so that kind of balances that out. We have ruler experience gain plus 25%. Again, kind of synergizes well with heroic past, for example. And our ruler, per skill level of our ruler, we get pop amenities usage -2% and edict fund plus 10%. So we'll be able to issue like strong edicts, kind of like guiding our population towards certain ends. And they will use fewer amenities, so they don't need to be entertained as much. Keep them focused.
I was just going to ask you if you could give a 10-second explanation of did you say population amenities?
Yeah.
But I think you just did.
Yeah, we'll go when we get into like the planet view. I'll explain what each one.
It's
means.
keeping people happy.
Yeah, keeping people happy. Yeah, and like how much the various people need to be happy. Okay. And so, what else do we have here? So yeah,
I think that's it for government and ethics.
Yeah, I think that kind of determined us as theocratic dictatorship, basically, and that's what we are. Which is basically the spiritualistic dictatorship ruled by a single individual in a hierarchical power structure supported by official state religion. So yeah, that's where we are. The next thing is traits. That's kind of our species, i.e. what every pop in our empire, like what kind of traits do they have, as a species, I guess. And you can see there's obviously a bunch. You get 2 points for free. Which you can spend on kind of positive things. And you can see there some of these cost 1 point, some of these cost 2. And then lower down, if we scroll all the way down, there is obviously negative ones to offset. So you can either just take on 1 or 2 positive traits and not offset them with anything, or you can take additional negative ones to offset some additional positive ones you take, if that makes sense. But the net sum must kind of pluses and minuses must add up to 0, or something positive. But then you're kind of wasting trade points on nothing. So in our case, without kind of going over every single one, we just picked intelligent. So that's our species. You can see organic and latent psionic we already have from our previous picks. Organic just means that we use food to feed ourselves, and there is pops in this game that feed on minerals and all sorts of other things, and even energy. I think there's all sorts of things. Latent psionic is the trait from our origin, gives us some benefits here. So every pop, if it's working a researcher job, if it's a researcher, it's 5% more efficient. Same with bureaucrat or telepath. Intelligent is very much the same, just gives us, again, plus 10% for all researchers. And there's different types of researchers, as we'll go over when we actually get into the game.
So we should be a little bit ahead in the technology curve.
Yeah. So basically, pretty simple. I mean, there's many different ones, guys, but we won't go over all of them. But we are just intelligent. Kind of makes sense to me. Other than that, like I'd say these are the 3 key ones. Like species and portrait, that's entirely cosmetic. You see what we went with. Name lists, again, cosmetic. We went with kind of SPQR, so Roman Republic kind of names, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we called ourselves the Sivanti order. Sivanti is our species name. We live on a continental planet world. Again, this will kind of play out in the game, but basically it determines what kind of planets, if we find them in the universe, which kinds we can settle and kind of work efficiently. Our pops are happy there, and they will produce good output. If we settle anything within at least the same category, like wet, example, continental is a wet type of climate. If we settle ocean or tropical, we'll be okay. But if we settle something cold or dry, we'll be kind of pretty terrible. You can terraform planets later on in the game. You can do lots of things with planets. Kind of, again, too much to describe here. But that's for our empire. We're continental. City and room is just appearance. Again, you don't even look at these that often in the game, so they don't really matter all that much. Advisor voice, well, I picked psionic. Again, doesn't matter that much. Flag, again, something kind of imperial Roman kind of looking. Again, doesn't matter too much. Ship sets, we went with psionic because I have the DLC and it's new. Again, just purely cosmetic, so it doesn't really matter too much. Ruler appearance, again, just the name of the ruler. Again, all purely cosmetic. Ours is Marcus Menenius, is what the game gave us. And then last one, ruler traits. So we can change the class of our leader, which determines the traits that are available to them. And I guess what kind of jobs. Well, I guess the ruler can actually do any job while he remains the leader of the nation. But we picked ours to be official, which makes him pick from principled, spycraft, mining rush, charismatic, logistics understanding, and I for talent. We picked principle because that's on theme. So with us, right, this leader has a strict code and follows our empire's morals, setting a good example for others. Again, that gives us stability +2 if he's a counselor, which he will be because he's the head of the council, because he's the head of government. He's our theocratic dictator. Again, there's many we'll get promote our leaders and such. The leaders are important, so we'll kind of add to this many times. But the starting trait is important in that you can go to level 2 in it earlier, but you can also then kind of randomly roll for other traits for your leader later on, including negative traits.
I just wanted to add here that principled and quite frankly, all of the different selections that we made when setting all this up was trying to stay thematically true to that idea of something along the lines of a Jedi Order theocratic dictatorship.
Yeah. Okay, so then let's pick the Empire and just kind of go over the galaxy settings and get into the actual game.
Okay, so I'm joining your empire now.
Yeah. So let's try that. I think I only tried that once before, but I think that works.
Try not to accidentally exit the game lobby at this point.
Yeah, let's not. So in terms of gameplay, so difficulty, we're going to go with Grand Admiral. I'm fairly confident we can make it, and I think it will make it interesting for us.
See, I will be very disappointed if I win my first ever game. To me, that would make me think that I didn't play on a high enough difficulty. So I'm not saying I'm going to try to sabotage us or anything like that. I'm just saying I hope it's plenty difficult.
Yeah. I think it will be like we'll be maybe top 5 nation, top 3 maybe towards the end of the game. We should be one of the leaders. I don't think I can guide us to be the leader, especially when you play like thematically. But there we are, guys. We'll do a medium-sized galaxy so that it's manageable. We will do spiral 3-arm to kind of mimic kind of normal galaxy. I don't really like any of the other ones, to be honest. Elliptical is all right. Spiral 2 arms is all right. Spiral 4 arms is all right. The other ones are a bit odd to me, to be honest. Hyperintensity.
Spoked sounds kind of interesting to me. That almost makes me think of, is there like a race to get into the middle?
No, there isn't. It just means you're kind of like, if you're in one of those spokes, you will limit who you interact with. Later down the line, like, because at first there are hyperlanes, as you can see, they're hyperlane density. You can increase that or decrease that, which will sort of split up all the stars into constellations, if you want to call them that. And then there will be like one exit and one entry. And the higher the density of hyperlanes, the fewer choke points there are. So you can kind of make everything interconnected, or I guess the default is 1, so that you kind of like, you have like maybe, I'd say between 3 and 8 stars, and then there's like a choke point. So you kind of take a constellation and try to like turtle inside it. And when you have a war, you war over like a dozen systems, which form like 1 or 2 constellations. So in a spoke, you're kind of stuck, but later on, you can jump without hyperlanes, again, like when you get the tech. So that's hyperlane density. We'll leave that on default. We'll go with 13 empires. You can do random, but let's just go with 13. So that it's kind of like there's, to be honest, just to show a variety, let's go with 15, and we'll be the 16th empire. Advanced AI starts, there will be 2, so it'll be kind of 2 big empires right from the start, so they'll have like 2 planets maybe, and like a few systems, as opposed to just a single system. Fallen empires, again, we'll explain that when we meet them, but we'll leave 2 on here. And in terms of advanced setting, guys, I've left everything pretty much as it is. We're going to random crisis type. We're going to increase crisis strength to 1.5, because I think we can make it. Scaling difficulty, I normally have that off, but we'll actually turn it on, such that AI will only get big buffs from mid-game, which will give us like an easier start. So we can kind of treat this as more of a tutorial.
Okay.
Then everything else, aggressiveness, I'm going to put high, so that if we are weak, it will pounce on us. I like that. Everything else is standard, and I wouldn't recommend maybe changing that. Some people sometimes change this for multiplayer to make the game like faster, but otherwise it should be okay. Habitable worlds, so we have it set at 1. I'm actually going to set it at rare, because I always play with rare and I still think there is too many. But basically finding a planet that's even habitable will be very rare. Finding a planet that's of your type will be like, oh my god, thank god I found this planet.
Yeah, I like the sound of that. That means a dopamine hit when you find something that's just right.
And you have to fight for it, right? Like it's important that you get it. And if you have 1 or 2 planets, it's big. Pre-FTL civilizations, so we'll get to meet people who have not reached space age. Again, we'll leave that 1. Empire placement will be random, but everyone's just all over the galaxy. Advanced neighbors, we'll disable that to again make sure none of the advanced empires actually spawn next to us. Advanced neighbors is off. Yeah, abandoned gateways, again, we'll see what this is. Wormhole pairs, this is all features of the galaxy that allow you to like travel in between. Guaranteed habitable worlds, we're gonna have put us off, again, to like make sure that when you find a planet, it's really special. Precursors, those are like stories of civilizations that were in our galaxy millions of years ago. I left it at Zeroni because it's one I haven't done in a while. It says the mind is limitless. Their thoughts carried them across the stars, reshaping existence. But even those who see beyond do not always see. Like, I think it kind of probably play well with the Shroud. But there's basically 9 of these, and you get like a random roll. So every time you start a game, you find a different one. So if any of these are kind of appeal to you, to be honest, you can.
No, that sounds good to me.
To be honest, let's do a random one. Let's do Zeroni or Akaria, because those are, I think, both Shroudy. So we'll get one or the other. So you see how it actually works. So mid-game start will be 2300, end-game start 2400. Again, if we die, we die. Victory year, let's put it 2500, so because this tutorial's got to end at some point.
Okay.
Marauder Empires is one. Again, we'll talk about what that is. L-Gates, again, all of that. We'll talk about those when we meet them. Storms. There are storms.
I have to ask a question here. This is going to show my ignorance, but again, I've never played this. Is this turn-based or is this real time?
Real time, like all Paradox games, so
Okay.
you can
Gotcha. That's what I
pausable at any
figured.
time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of Paradox games, I played a fair amount of Europa Universalis many years ago, but pretty much nothing else. I do know that things like Hearts of Iron 4 are kind of, following basically the same engine, but I wasn't sure if this one did as well.
Yeah, it does, yeah. All right, so that's kind of the setup. Let's go ahead if you go ready.
Yeah, I just want to mention one other thing, which is I personally only own the base game, but as Immersioneer explained to me, the fact that he is the multiplayer host and he owns all these DLCs, that actually means that in our game, all of those will be available. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah. I think that's true for all Paradox games, but yeah, definitely for Stellaris.
Okay.
And then
I clicked on ready up.
Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. To load up. Game ready. Yeah. We're gonna go start, right? Are you in? Yep. So
I see a screen that says Savantian Order here.
Yep. So this is just kind of the summary of our empire. I mean, I'll let you read like that's kind of the flavor text starts. I mean, I don't know if you want me to read it or you read it, because I just talk all the time.
Yeah, I was going to say, why don't I go ahead and read this one then?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, we are the Savantian Order. We are a theocratic dictatorship. Obviously, the ethics, civics, traits, and planet class are everything that we just talked about. But now for the flavor text here. The myths of our forebears speak of the teachers, beings of great knowledge and power who helped to shape our earliest civilization. Through dreams, they approached us from afar, sharing their wisdom of the Shroud and its teachings. Now our teachers have reached out once again, seeding our dreams with eldritch visions. They have provided us with the key to interstellar travel. In just a few years, we have built vessels capable of traversing the void. But how much farther is it possible to go? Our teachers refer to a Shroud tunnel, a natural wormhole that sits at the edge of their home system. Spawning our own tunnel should give us a direct path to the teachers themselves. May they continue to grant us wisdom as we take our first steps onto the galactic stage. And our leader name apparently is Marcus Menenius.
Yeah. So we got a grand purpose, hence where I think Xenophobe, that's the way I would roleplay it, right? Like everyone is there, like, I don't know, for money and fame, but we are on a path here, right? Therefore, everyone else needs to make way, right?
Okay, so, I clicked on begin.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Okay, and we got another incoming. So this is, just to explain, this is, you wouldn't see this kind of normally. This is because of the origin, right? You get that flavor, and you see immediately here, you can see this guy. So incoming transmission, this is sort of like what you get from like a diplomacy type screen. But I'll let you, I guess, go ahead and read that. Like I've never played this origin, so I actually don't even know.
Okay, so this is a transmission from someone named Elder Landor Conning. True apprentices are students for generations. We have taught you, seeding our knowledge of the Shroud and its mysteries within your dreams. Now that you have reached the stars, your true apprenticeship is at hand. The path forward will not be an easy one. To light the way, we grant you knowledge of the Shroud Beacon, a device of great power. Once built on one of your star bases, the beacon will spawn a Shroud tunnel. Choose its location carefully, as you will not be able to spawn another. In times of need and uncertainty, call on us. In dreams, we will be watching. In waking life, we await your arrival. And we have two choices here. How should we respond? We receive your gift with gratitude, or we have earned this. And it looks like it's 25 resources.
Yeah, 25 crystals.
Either way.
Yeah.
25 crystals. Yeah.
So,
okay.
One thing I will know just generally, like if you hover over a lot of things in Stellaris, you'll get like a tooltip. So if you kind of hover over Elder Landor Koenig, you can get a little bit of his background.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it really matters, but for example, but he's basically some super species living in the Shroud. Um, but yeah,
So we may have future interactions with him.
yeah, I think we definitely will. Yeah. So we
Okay.
grant you knowledge of the Shroud Beacon, a device of great power. So once built on one of your star bases, the beacon will spawn a Shroud channel. Yeah, up to you. I bet some of these dialogue choices are flavor, but some will impact us later on.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not immediately apparent what, because both of them do say resources 25, and that was going to be my question: is it going to remember our answer and have that affect our relations later?
I could like it's not doesn't always do that. Most of the dialogue in the game, I'd say, is more like flavor. But
Okay.
I think it can affect it. So I would.
Well, I mean, these are the folks who have been teaching us, so we may be fanatics and we may look down on everyone else, but we probably don't look down on him. So I'm
Yeah.
going to go ahead and receive his gift with gratitude.
Yeah.
And
And
now it looks like I can select it, but I'm assuming either one of us could select this. Is that right?
Well, try it. When you press begin, it didn't actually click it for me. So I'm kind of curious how this co-op thing works. Yeah. Okay, you clicked it and it disappeared for me as well.
Okay.
Okay. Well then, so I would press E or M on your keyboard, or you see down at the bottom where it says Imaka, our Empire homeworld,
Yes.
right? If you click on like the galaxy button on the right of that,
Okay.
it kind of zooms you out to the galaxy view,
Gotcha.
right?
Okay.
And you can see,
and I can just scroll out here.
yeah, you see
Ooh.
that is basically our galaxy.
Oh. Okay. So right mouse and hold allows me to kind of spin things around a little bit. Obviously, the mouse wheel zooms in and out.
Yeah.
But I can't like pick it up and move it around. It appears.
No. So the WASD works.
Oh,
then,
okay.
And
Gotcha.
then EE lets you kind of zoom
There.
in on the system that you're hovering over.
Okay, there we go. I see. All right.
Yeah.
And you said EE, like a double E here?
No, just if you hover over any system that you have some info and you press E, you will be able to like go to the system, solar system view.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And if you
All
press E again, you go out back into
Go
the
back
galaxy.
out. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. That's useful. So let's just talk about the basics, I guess, while the game is paused here, but not actually get started until the next
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, exactly. But you can see basically we're in top right, right? So you spawn in like random location every time. We're in top right here. We own one system, right? Since you see that's kind of like we have that green thing around us. If we click on our solar system, yeah, it's really all that. Well, I mean, rather, if you look at our solar system in a galaxy view, that's what I said. There's hyperlanes between systems, right? You need to claim a system. You need to first survey a system with a science ship, then claim it with a construction ship, and then you can like settle planets in it or build star bases and such. And you see like some of those you can obviously see are like choke points. Those are, probably the ones you want to explore first. But each system has, if you click, let's say, go back to our system, right? Imaka, you can see it has like planets, and beneath each planet there's like an energy or mineral, right? And that's basically how much. If you build a little station above it, it's not like exactly a star base, but it's like a little station. It will extract that resource for you for your economy, right?
Okay, now there's quite a bit of information here on Imaka itself. That's the only planet that we have currently settled. Is that correct?
Yeah. So
Although except we have a research station on Caledonia.
yeah. So for example,
and it looks like we have a something here on Thrinacia.
yeah. So these research station and Thernacia, like the mining
That's a
station,
mining station.
is
Okay.
it's kind of it doesn't do anything. Either you build it on top of a planet with like a resource or an asteroid, and it just gives you that resource into your economy. Right?
I see.
Like you
Okay.
never
Now,
really.
are those already built, or do we need to click on them to build them, or something
No,
like that?
those are already built, but there are some
Okay.
other, like for example, down at the bottom is Nova Arabia, right? A little moon with two gears. That is the resource is there, but we haven't built a research station to collect
Gotcha.
that engineering
Okay.
research. But
And
that's why you want
there would be
systems.
no value in us building a mining facility there, for example, because it doesn't have that resource available. Is that correct?
No, you wouldn't build a mining. You'd only build a research facility on top of
Yes,
it.
that's what I'm saying.
So
Okay.
it yells you that. Yeah. But that's kind of automatic, so that's nothing to really think of. But
So,
basically,
so every planet normally only has one resource available, or are there some that have multiple?
some have multiple. Yeah. So you can get up to
Okay.
6, like of that resource. Sometimes you get 2. There's also special resources later. We'll kind of uncover that as we go along.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, it looks like Nova Aegyptus here to our southwest.
Yeah.
That's a high priority target because that provides 5
Yeah.
of its resource, which is
Yeah.
obviously more than 2
2.
of some of these other planets.
Yeah. Except it's in green, so you already have a mining station on top of it.
Oh.
Do you see?
Oh, I was zoomed out
Yeah.
at an inappropriate level to be able to see that.
So that
Okay.
one's like kind of hard to see.
Okay.
But you don't
Yeah,
really
gotcha.
spend much time in like solar system view, to be honest. Like only when you fight fleet battles. So once you like get going, you're really spending
You're
most
going
of
to
your
be
time.
out here in the galaxy.
view. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what you can see also here, so we have like a starbase here, this Imaka station, right? That has some modules in it, and that is where they want us to build that Shroud beacon. But we'll deal with that later. Like these starbases, they're, I'd say mostly defensive structures, but you can also specialize them into an economic structure.
Okay. Which one is the starbase? Because
sorry.
I've got six different things around Imaka here.
Yeah, so next to our planet, there is like it's called Imaka Station, and it's got like 684 military power.
Okay.
It's kind of like
I see the 684 military power. How do you know it's called Imaka Station?
just when you click on it, that's all. Because it's called
Oh,
Imaka Station.
there we go. Okay, I just hadn't clicked on
Yeah,
it.
you can only have
so-
one of these in each system.
Yeah, because I don't know these icons, so that is
sorry.
presumably the icon for a starport.
Yeah, like a starport. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So this
Okay.
one, for example, has a shipyard and a solar panel network, right? So shipyard means it can build ships. Solar panel network means it gives us like 6 credits, like 6 energy, so 6 of money basically. But we can leave that alone for now. But that's basically you have one of these stations in every system, and then you can upgrade them into like massive citadels where it's like it's worth a fleet. And that's what makes it hard to take a system from someone, right? But we can leave that alone for now and just click on Civacia, right? If you just click on the planet, you'll get like the planet screen.
Gotcha.
And that is probably, we can spend like 15 minutes on that because that's key.
Okay.
So this is our a system where our civilization grew up on, right? It's a habitable planet that we have obviously, well, I guess we sort of arose on it, and we can find others like it and settle them. But for now, this is our only planet. So you can see in top right here. And by the way, guys, we're playing with the dynamic UI overhaul mod because I feel it's pretty much necessary. And I think anyone who plays Stellaris just views that as a base case. But you can see here, we've got planet summary, so continental world, like we picked, right? Habitability is 100%, so that whatever job a pop does, we'll get 100% of that. It won't be like cut because they are experiencing hardship, because it's not the climate is like the climate is not compatible with our species.
It's suboptimal.
Yeah, suboptimal rather. Yeah, colonized. Apparently, just today, I would have thought probably been taken over a few hundred, 3,000 years before that. But yeah, size 19. So size 19, like you can get up to 30 size, but that's special. I'd say generally like 24, 25 would be like a very nicely large sized. 12, 15 is kind of a small sized planet. And what does size mean exactly? It means how many of like buildings and districts, which we'll talk about in a second, that you can build on it. I.e. like basically, and districts and buildings are where pops actually work to produce something. So 19 size, everyone starts with roughly a similar planet. But there are some origins that let you start with a 30 size planet. There are some that make you start with like a 12 sized, just to make it more difficult. All right.
Yep.
So that's kind of that. Then you can see across like the top. First of all, we have like a governor. Do you see here? Postumus Attilius, right? He's a minister of state. which means he's on the council. We'll talk about that later. But he's also governing this planet. And what does that mean? You see, that means you see he's level 1 official, that little 1 in sort of orange there. Do you see it next to his?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so that's kind of his level. I mean, the higher he ranks up, even just from being a governor, right? You see if you hover over it, right? If he's a planet governor, it says you get plus 2% to like every resource, basically.
Gotcha.
And then he has psychic trait, which I think some of our leaders have, but maybe not all. But again, psychic trait, depending on what job he's doing, and he's a planet governor, he gives us unity from jobs plus 10%, right? And then he has a trait called righteous, and this is randomized. So when he gets promoted, we'll pick other traits. If you restart this game, he might get another one. But he basically gets crime minus 25. So he reduces crime by 25. Pretty nice.
Okay. Now that like that number of minus 25. I don't really know what the range of crime is in this game. Is that a 0 to 100 type of a number?
Yeah, I would say it's about 0 to 100. Yeah, 0. Okay. You don't get anything for it being negative for less than 100, but that's good. Once it starts going to like 100, planets can rebel. You can get like crime mobs taking over your planets and just inducing all sorts of penalties. There could be like a drug epidemic. All bad things can happen. And there's other ways to decrease crime, like multiple ways, through technology, through buildings and whatnot.
Okay, and it says sector governor effect. So are there multiple sectors for one planet?
No, so you can have 2 planets if they're like in the same system or very close to
each other. It's the other way
other.
Around.
Yeah.
It's multiple planets per sector. Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. So planets that are close by can be governed by a sector governor. But you can also assign an individual planet governor to each planet if you wanted to.
Gotcha.
All right. So you can see the bonuses for the sector governor are smaller because like he's sort of split between, let's say, several planets. So yeah, so then I guess to explain, to be honest, before we even get into the planet, well, I guess you can see there's 4.8 thousand pops living on here, and they're generally numbered in like hundreds, but you'll see how they grow and they change, right? So we have 4.8.
We're completely homogenous.
Yeah,
we're
right
all
now.
Savanti.
Yeah, we're all Savanti, which is great, right? Thematically, for us.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's advantages to having pops of different types. I'd say mainly because you can colonize different types of planets from the get-go, right? So for now, right now.
If I remember correctly, our chosen traits or whatever would have allowed us to enslave others.
Yeah.
So,
but even if we enslave
them, it would make
them,
sense. We wouldn't start with any. But if we were to get slaves, does that mean we would import slaves into this planet or what?
So everyone who would conquer would turn slave on that planet. We would then need to get our pops on there to become rulers, because otherwise, if there's not a single pop of ours on the enslaved planet, they'll just rebel. But you can also resettle people, and yes, we would send people to our planet and put them in like low-level, like minor jobs, for example. But basically, then before you kind of get into these individual planet stats of like housing, amenities, and that, you can, I'd say, broad strokes at a high level. You can see we have these city districts, right? Which is where people live, right? And they have some buildings. So it's like urban areas, right? Then you have below that, you have generated districts, which is where people like generate power. And kind of weirdly in Stellaris, like energy credits is basically money.
It's just a currency.
Yeah, it's kind of currency, but it's also kind of represented as like energy, as in like electricity, I think. Kind of thing, I think. So there is generated district, there's mining districts, which gives us miners who obviously mine all sorts of, they mine minerals, right? And then there's agriculture districts for people who make food. And these are like the basic jobs. You can either like be in a city urban area and be like a little clerk. You can either be like work in a power generation, a miner, or an or a farmer, right? And if we look in top left of the whole screen, right, you can see there's like all the resources, or like a bunch of resources there, right? And you can see we have energy credits 200 and plus 47, right?
Yep.
So we have 200 stock plus 47, obviously. Energy credits are like needed for upkeeping like stations and ships, and all sorts of things. And sometimes to buy for like events, you can buy things, or you can sometimes basically spend like big chunks of money to buy something, but not often. I'd say most of it will just be like a flow currency to upkeep our infrastructure of various kinds. And then you have minerals, right? We have 200 plus 13, so obviously stock 200 generating 13. Minerals you need to build basic buildings. For example, all buildings on our planet we build with minerals, and all basic things in space we build with minerals as well. But also, minerals are converted into things you see below, which is alloys, right? And you see those we have 200 plus 9. So alloys are like very precious. They're like processed minerals. And alloys we spend on building ships. It will be predominantly military ships, but also like construction ships and science ships, and stations.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I see that we have these basic mines, so I understand where our minerals are coming from, but where are our alloys coming from? Do we have some type of a facility that is turning materials into alloys?
Yes. So for example, in the urban districts, you see where it has city districts, right? You can see there's a mixed industry, which is like one of the specializations, which I'll talk about in a sec. But you see mixed industry. You see it has civilian industries next to it, right? But that one actually produces consumer goods, which is not helpful for this explanation. But if you click on the open building slot, you see that plus?
Mm-hmm.
You can build alloy foundries inside of it.
Okay, but we don't currently have
Exactly.
any, so I'm wondering where our surplus is coming from.
So they're coming, if you just hover over city districts, kind of the districts, the urban districts in itself, right? If you hover over it, you can see what it gives you. It says from district specializations.
I see. I got it. So we've got metallurgist jobs plus 150. Metallurgists turn minerals into alloys.
Exactly. Yeah. So you kind of have them like in any city, you have some metallurgists. But if you wanted to really like focus, you do like a mega project, so to speak, and you build like an alloy foundry. So to really get like a big boost, right? And from that, you can see every one of these districts, like city, generator, mining, or farms, they produce a lot of like some or a lot of the basic, but you can augment them with buildings that kind of make a push in this or that direction, right? Because you could make a planet with all civilian industries, right? And they would just produce like only consumer goods. Or you could be alloy foundries and they convert lots of minerals into alloys. All of your resources across all planets are shared. Like there's no like blockades of, well, I mean, there's a bit of a blockade mechanic, but generally they just kind of go up into your pool. So alloys produced on one planet, you can spend them anywhere.
So for the most part, these resources, all of these currencies, are empire-wide.
Yeah, global. Yeah. So for example, if this planet didn't produce any food, but another planet produced lots of food, which is very much viable, the food just magically jumps to this planet.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now, if you
talk about blockade later.
Yeah, like you can blockade, so you can kind of stop a planet from interacting with other planet, but it's sort of done in the background automatically for you.
Okay, I do have another question. These buildings, are they, you build it and that's it? You've got one of those, or are they upgradable?
They're upgradable, and they're changeable, and they are modifiable.
Okay.
So yeah, we will build alloy foundry. You can then upgrade it to like alloy foundry level 2. You can also change specializations. You see where it says mixed industry, you can change that to like some other like heavy industry that focuses specifically on alloys, which there's basically all sorts of customization you can do with your planet.
Gotcha. I'm looking at that temple that we have under archives.
Yeah.
And wondering, are we later going to upgrade that to be a bigger temple?
Yes, we are. Okay. Yeah. So for all buildings pretty much are upgradable. So we're going back to resources, right? So we have energy, we got minerals. Minerals get either you build stuff with them, like basic things, or you convert them into alloys and build space stations and fleets. Then you have food. Food is really kind of like energy, I'd say, but I'd say least important, especially for organic empires, because we basically grow food so that our pops can eat it, and that's about it. There's not much else you can really do with it until mid or late game, maybe. But
so you just want to make sure you're maintaining the minimum necessary.
Yeah, exactly. You want like some stockpile. You definitely don't want to go in a deficit, but broadly, that's food for you. Then on the left, so we talked about consumer goods, right? So you see under energy, there is consumer goods. Now, consumer goods are actually also produced from minerals, right? So minerals, apart from building basic buildings, they also either get converted into alloys or into consumer goods. And the consumer goods themselves are used as upkeep, like food. For example, food kind of keeps crops alive. Consumer goods keeps them happy and keeps certain jobs. The better the job, the more consumer input it requires. Like, for example, a researcher or an entertainer or like a priest in a temple, to kind of signify that it's a better job, that guy wants like a better standard of living, they consume more consumer goods as upkeep. You don't really get much else from them, but they're basically like upkeep mechanic. Whereas
Gotcha.
energy is used to upkeep your like stations and fleets, kind of more like infrastructure. Consumer goods are used to upkeep your pops together with food.
Okay.
And that's basically the economy. So I'd say like minerals are generally, I'd say the most important one, and then alloys are alloys is like the most important one. Everything else is more like upkeeping your, the rest of it, keeping everything balanced.
I think that's a pretty good information dump right there. That's an awful lot to digest.
Yeah.
But it all makes sense. You've done a good job explaining it.
Well, yeah, hopefully. But I guess, I mean, I'm not. You are probably out of time, right? I'm looking at that.
Yeah, I'm running up against my time limit here, so.
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll pick up with like the ships and the military aspect of this maybe at the start of the next episode.
Yeah. I suggest let's do that. And then the next episode we can go over like the planetary management. There's a bit more left with the buildings, but we'll try to kind of unpause and get going, right? And just kind of I'll explain things as we go, rather than do like a massive. Yeah, but that's kind of the basics of Stellaris, right? You build ships, you settle planets, you build stations, you get this galaxy view, you get, you claim systems or maybe conquer systems, interact with other empires, and live for play the game for, a couple of 100 years until you conquer them, or you get conquered, or there's a crisis and the whole galaxy goes up in flames, etc. And also pursuing your origin story and whatever role play you kind of thought to yourself.
That really answers the question I was going to ask, which is there's very clearly a lot of depth to it in the sort of the empire management has a lot of mechanics and things that are just going to take some experience to learn how to balance them all, how to juggle them all. But also in terms of quote unquote winning the game, it's not just I have to conquer the whole galaxy. There's a lot more to it than that, right?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that I don't think the game even defines victory other than that time limit.
It's more sandbox.
Yeah, but you could say defeat the last crisis and defend the galaxy, or you could paint the map your color. Broadly, it's something of those. So you can become the leader of the galaxy in a diplomatic way as well.
Yep, very good.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to the next episode and us maybe actually starting to expand a bit. I love the exploration aspect of these.
And Stellaris is very unique because we will get a lot of story both with our origin and just random kind of quest type in an RPG that happen and that give a lot of flavor as to why we're expanding, where what each system is. There's at the start there's a lot. But I hope everyone enjoyed that. Yeah, that sort of format. Hope we get more people into Stellaris.
I certainly did. I've got a little bit better understanding about the game. I'm clearly, nowhere near knowing it all at this point, but it's a lot less intimidating at this point than it was.
Yeah, and hopefully for everyone, I think the reason it's perfect is you'll ask questions that probably come up on everyone's mind who's playing for the first time. Right, and I'll be able to answer them, hopefully.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. All right.
Well, thanks everybody who was with us. Yeah, please feel free to post questions in the comments to the video. I suspect we'll probably do at least one more before we release this first one, so we may not immediately have an obvious response to any questions or anything like that are posed in the comments, but we'll do our best.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. Give it a like if you enjoyed it. Help spread the message. I think there needs to be more people actually playing Stellaris, and I would love to play multiplayer with lots of people. But
yeah, I mean, if you can somehow figure out a way to create a 26 or 27-hour day, then I could definitely see playing this more frequently.
Yeah, it's all in the Shroud.
Yeah, right. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and say thanks, everybody, so much, and we'll see you all in the next episode.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.